my misspelled words. We came at a stop, and I was able to hurry up and type some things. So I said to myself, running a tad bit behind. I may not be behind, I may be on time. But let me just talk a little bit about abandonment, husband abandonment. If you got abandoned by your husband, what to do? And the reason why somebody left a message saying that I think oh, this look bad. Somebody got hit in the back. Ooh, in the airbag. Well, is it the airbag? I don't know. But you got to be cautious out here while you driving. You just got to be cautious out here. But somebody asked a question like, "What about polygamy?" And your husband told you not to do something. I don't know, and he left you, and now you're basically all alone. First of all, polygamy, if your husband is sleeping around or if you sleeping around with somebody, that's adultery. Polygamy is adultery. If you're sitting up here sharing your bed with somebody else other than the person that you're one flesh with, that is adultery. You can put a name on it, a bow on it, a pearl on it, I don't care. It's adultery. So what do you do? What do you do now that your husband has left you? What do you do? And I'm saying this because I've been there, done that. And as a matter of fact, somebody left a comment and was like, somebody left a comment on a video that I posted like 7 years ago. That baby, that's your baby. Buckle down, and you gonna have to do this and do that. I'm like, first of all, the child that I have, that's our baby. Women don't just make babies on their own. No matter how horrible the fathers are, or if they left, they're not there, you want to call them whatever you want to call them, that's our baby. However, I oversee my daughter. That's just how it is. And that is the best thing that has ever happened to me in my entire life, other than giving my life over to Christ. So I'm grateful to have my daughter. I'm very, very grateful. And I'm grateful that her father was a part of creating her. That was one of the best gifts he could have ever given me, because every day I look at her, I'm just like, wow. And a part of her dad is in her. Hopefully she gets the good parts. She got the good parts. But you get what I'm saying. Like, I'm very grateful that I am a mother, and I'm very grateful that her father was a part of that. And I'm not going to deny that and act like this baby was just created by me. No, no. But I understood what she was saying, because 7 years ago I went through a lot. I went through a lot at the beginning, but if I would have known, if I know what I know now, that God is going to carry you out of the storm. He's going to carry you through the storm. And you're not going to get hurt, but just focus on God. Just keep your eyes focused on God, and He will lead you right through the heartache. He will lead you through the feeling of disappointment. I mean, betrayal, abandonment. He will lead you through all of that. And you will literally look to God for your everything. Like, I look to the Father for my everything, for my everything. And I'm gonna tell you something. My father, he provides better than your husband could ever provide. Like, he is the ultimate of providers, because he is the creator. He knows your thoughts, he knows your wants, he knows what you're going through. He knows before things even happen, before you even bring it to his attention. He already got it lined up. If I would have known those things 6 7 years ago, when my husband gave me the deuces and dragged me up in court, man, I would have been cooler than an Eskimo, like, for real. Like, I did a lot of stressing, a lot of at night worrying, because it was like, then my husband was my world. You know what I mean? And don't get it twisted. You want your husband, you want your husband to be there. God does not want us to divorce. He does not want you to give bill of divorces and walk away from your household, from your responsibilities. He don't want you to put someone out or put your husband out and give him a bill of divorce, vice versa. That's why we are supposed to forgive. That's why we're supposed to stay within our own households and not commit adultery by sleeping with other people other than your husband and your wife. But I digress, because everybody's out here doing what they want to do, and they don't think they're going to go to hell for it, because they are. They really are. So if you find that your husband puts you away and he's out there sleeping with other women and saying he gonna get himself a new wife with y'all one flesh, pray for the dude. Pray for your husband, because he don't understand the fire that awaits him. And on that fire is going to say adultery. You despising the commandments of God. Just pray for him. But as far as you, focus on God and ask God to bring the peace, the joy, and happiness. Like, I had to ask God to literally take the desire away from me of me wanting my husband. That literally he took the desire away. He really took the desire away. I don't wake up and be like, oh, where's my husband at? Oh, he's with someone else. Oh, he never called. I mean, sometimes I do. I mean, that's the only man that I can think about, if you understand what I'm saying, because I'm not allowed to date. I'm not allowed to be with anyone else. So if I do, if my imagination does go that somewhere else with, maybe doing a waltz with a gentleman, it would be my husband that I would imagine. But other than that, that's as far as it goes. That's as far as it goes. Like, God literally took the desire away of me desiring my husband, because in the Bible it talks about when Eve got punished, like, she would desire her husband. That's where the desire comes from, and you feel so hurt and so broken because you are really literally desiring your husband. You need to ask God to take away that desire and give you the spirit of happiness, peace, and joy that overflows. He will give it to you. He will have you so distracted, you'll be like, Dad, I remember I was crying about that. So when this lady had posted the comment, I'm sure she didn't realize that the video was 7 years ago. She was going off of the despair and emotion, the scaredness of who I was 7 years ago. I'm not that same woman. I'm not that little creature that was like, I can't go on with my husband. Oh, I'm not her. I'm far from her. I wanna go back and be like, look, I'm trying to tell you, it's some great things coming down the pipe. I know. You love him very much, but there's some great things that are coming down the pipe. Things that God have in store for you. Just focus on God. I feel like a lot of women, what you do is you jump out of the frying pan right into the fire. When your husbands leave you, you start looking for another man, and you try to look for that man to fill your husband's shoes. And then when that man becomes way more worse than the husband that you married, then you say, oh, what did I do? You were That was a forbidden thing. You wasn't supposed to mess with that. You were supposed to, what Jesus says, to remain unmarried or you're reconciled. So on the unmarried adventure, there's, when you really think about it, you were born by yourself, and when God calls you home, you're going to leave by yourself. You don't leave with your husband. That's a part of living. When you marry someone, you become one flesh with them, but you don't become them. So there's still certain things that I want to do in my life. There's still certain desires I want to do that doesn't have anything to do with intimacy. It doesn't have anything to do with dating. It doesn't have, it has other type of adventures. When you look at all of these people, what they do, like, you got people that's out there in the clear seas kayaking and fishing and exploring and climbing mountains and helping out the wilderness and animals and stuff like that. It's so many things to do, learning new languages, new people, new cultures. Like there's so many things to do. And you have to go back like a child like mine. And when I say that is remember a time before you love and the whole birds and the bees type of situation. Go back to that joyful, playful, that peacefulness when you wasn't really worrying about bills, you wasn't really worrying about your relationships. You were just in the moment and you were just happy, and the world was just so big and full of possibilities. You got to go back there. You really do. You really do. And he says, so what am I going to do now? Do what you've been doing, breathing. Your body, your body never had to ask your husband, can I breathe today? So if he leaves, you're going to continue on breathing. So there's things to be done. As long as you're still alive, there's things to be done. Marriage is only here on earth, y'all. In heaven, there is no marriage in heaven, and there's no marriage in husband and wives in hell either. So, all I can say is that you got to focus. Like, ask God to bring you the spirit of joy and peace. When he gives you that, you're not even tripping off of that anymore. I know my husband exists. I know the man I married exists. I know he's still alive. He's out there somewhere. And the thing is, I got to the point where I don't wish him ill will. I don't wish him bad luck. But when you get to the level where you just like, I really hope he's doing good. And I hope he put them cigarettes down too. But I really do hope he's doing good. Anyway, let me see, Father, do you think I could go on? And like, that's where I'm at now. I'm just like, that's where I'm at. And it was crazy because the other day I was driving and I was listening to this song by what is she? Diana Washington. It was a song I used to have on my playlist years ago, and the song was I Don't Hurt Anymore. And she was like, I found like the tears have dried. You're not even on my mind anymore. And I was listening. I was like, that's true. I don't even really think about the man that I married, my husband, anymore. My covenant husband. I don't even think about him anymore. I don't. It's uh, he does cross my mind, but it's not like it's not. How can I say in a way that's not sounding so harsh? It's not as it's not like that anymore. Maybe it's because I say automatic. Or I know for a fact it's the prayer when I ask God to take that desire away. So the whole time I was like, "That's right. I don't even think about you no more." I'm singing this song, and then all of a sudden, after that song, this beautiful song came on. Y'all, this is true. This happened a couple of days ago. It was a piano, and I said, "This is absolutely beautiful." And the person that was playing the piano, it was like a freestyle, and I was like, "What song is this?" Because I download so many songs, and y'all, guess who? Guess whose song it was? It was the man that I married. It was his song that I forgot that I bought from Amazon. I downloaded it. And I was like, this is absolutely gorgeous. And to me, I will not to me. I feel like God was just reminding me, okay, Ramona, but continue on praying for him. And you do have a husband out there. I know it's like, I've been on this thing where I'm just like, love is for the birds. Only thing I want is this, that, and the third. I just want a comfortable life, taking care of my daughter, my mom, and just being at a level where finances is not an issue. We all deal with, paying the bills, but I'm trying to get to that level, and that's why I'm grinding the way I'm grinding. And I'm like, Lord, I need you to show me how to be smart and do the certain things that I still want to do while I still have breath in my life. So what do you do when your husband abandons you? Number one, you're going to go through some things. You're going to go through the commotions. Cry and get it out of your system. Write everything or harsh words, write it down on a piece of paper and burn it. Then pray and ask God to remove the desire away from you. Have him to put all that desire on your husband. Because I was like, Father, I need you to remove this away that I don't think about him anymore. Like he's not he's not the first thing when I wake up in the morning. Oh, my husband, he's not here. Oh, when he comes back, everything's going to be okay. No, God makes everything okay now. He makes everything okay now. God, God gives us warning too, because he warned me in my dreams that my husband was going to put me away. He gave me multiple warnings like, Mona, I need you to brace yourself because your husband, the one I created, is going to betray you. The God gave me a dream of my husband giving me a bill of divorce. And he also gave me a dream that even though I got my bill of divorce, I am still married. And now I'm just like, okay, it is what it is. Jesus says to remain, you got put away, okay, remain unmarried or reconciled. So while I'm unmarried, I'm doing my thing and I'm doing it in the Lord. You know why? Because I need every single blessing that I need every single drop. I need, you know, almost some able type stuff. Like I need to give good fruits. Like I need God to see, like, look at my faithful servant right there. All these years she's been faithful. She ain't had no do it in her face. She ain't been talking to nobody on the phone. She ain't, you know what I mean? Like, look at that. She's been tested, but she overcame it. Like, I need to be like, Lord, you see that? Does that mean I go to the next level? Like I need that. I need that. So in your walk, when your husband walks away from you, your life does not stop there. It does not mean, oh, how are things going to be done? Because when he was here, he did everything. Ask God to bless you, because I'm gonna be. God has quadrupled. I mean, he not just doubled, but everything that I went through, God had restored double to me. And it's like I make, not going into my stuff, but I make way more than I did with when I was with my husband and with both of us our income combined. He's taught me, I have gotten a real closer relationship with God because I have learned to depend on my father like nothing else. I have learned so much. I love God so much because when my husband left me, God did not leave me. He was like, Mom, I ain't going away. And that's why I'm very, like, I resist the devil and he will flee. That's why I be telling some of you ladies out there, look, the enemy will send a man to tear you down. Same thing with you men. The enemy will send a woman to tear you down, and then you wondering why, you don't have, you got these issues with your wife. I was speaking to someone, a man, the other day, and he said him and his wife have been going back and forth, and I already know what the issue is, because you've been focusing on other women, you've been flirting with other women, and possibly men, and it's bleeding back into your home. You put everybody on the pedestal other than your wife, and then the minute I've seen it with my own eyes. The minute a man steps out on adultery, all hell breaks loose. Now I remember, I don't believe, I'm not sure. I definitely know that in between, since I have been separated from the man that I married, I know he been out there sleeping around. I've had dreams of him doing that. But it started with adultery when everything went downhill, when he had somebody who showed up at his job. Then all of a sudden he started acting different. It's because you invited adultery in. And adultery, y'all don't understand, is that the devil, and I've said this in my videos, the devil is sending these demonic demons over to tempt you and watch you fall. And that's the reason why you hate and despise your wife. That's the reason why you want to give her the bill of divorce. And now you walking around with this huge void in your chest. And you can sit up here and speak to a psychiatrist over and over again. Your mother and your father can vouch you ain't did a daggone thing wrong, but you know deep down in that you did your wife wrong. And without that repentance and even asking for the forgiveness, same thing too, women, you know deep down within you did your husband wrong. You wondering why they doing so good and you not. They not even struggling and you struggling. You wondering why they being blessed and you're not. Because all of the blessings that God had in store for the marriage, it went on her side or his side because you would have wanted with out of will. It's still there's still what's going to happen is what's going to happen. The blessing is still going to come. You just not going to be able to obtain it or eat at the table until you repent and ask God for forgiveness. You hinder your blessings. You hinder your prayers. God ain't gonna hear from you when you put your own wife away. But when you get to the level where you're not even waiting for you're not even waiting for the person to fall anymore, because it's just like if what I'm doing and I see that God is black, because I ask God, Father, I need you to direct my footsteps, not even just light my path, Lord. I need you to kind of like take my shoulders and have me clink clink like clink clink like walk down this path. Like I need you to show me where to go. I need you to show me where to go, Father. Lead me, show me how to be a better mother, a better daughter. Show me what to do. Bless my hands, enlarge my territory, Father. I'm asking God for wisdom. And one thing at the beginning when my husband left, I felt sick. I thought I was gonna go out of my daggone mind. And I had to ask, I knew it was him. I'm thinking too much of him. And I had to ask, Father, could you please take the desire of my husband away from me? I don't want to wake up crying with freaking bags underneath my eyes, the biggest grocery bags. I don't want to wake up like that. I don't want to be, because whatever he is doing, I know you see what he is doing. But I have to focus on you, and I need all of you, Father. And that's how I am now. Like when you get to that level, you first of all, you have to know what it is. You have to, because you ain't if you a mess, you ain't gonna be nothing for nobody else. You understand? I'm talking about for the children. You laying on the ground hurt and broken. And that's why a lot of women went downhill, because what their husbands did, then their husbands put them away. Even Princess Diana put her away. And she ended up going on church, being around the wrong people, being around the wrong man, and then she ended up dying because of that. Jesus said to remain unmarried or reconciled. She could have remained unmarried, did her, ventured out with her and her kids, focused on her and what she wanted to do without any extra parties or partying and somebody else's whatever. Who knows? It could have been the tabloids. You know what I'm saying? It's certain things that I'm realizing, okay, there's a reason why God puts rules and regulations out there. And there's a reason why it's for our safety. It's for us to be able to, really look around. Like, I'm not dealing with people issues. And what I mean by that, I'm not why husband is under the same roof. So sometimes you gotta count it as your blessing that you're able to have that type of peace. Now, don't get it twisted. You know, God wants us to reconcile. That's why he says to remain unmarried and reconcile, because if both parties were doing exactly what God told you to do, remain unmarried or reconcile, then not only will you benefit from you both will benefit from the reconciliation, not your family will, and those naysayers and an entire community of the body of Christ will look and be like, wow, after all these years, they reconciled. After all of these years, look at what God has done. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what God is doing. And sometimes he may not have you to reconcile, or he may say, okay, just go and live in peace, but you can't commit adultery. Live in peace, but you can't commit adultery. But those are the only things I have to say about that. And so when the lady said, I don't know, when the lady said, when am I my husband now I'm here all alone. Find things to do. Shoot. Ask God to take you on an adventure. Ask God to show you what is your skill, what is your talent, ask God to, to take you places. Like, I'm not waiting for nobody. I'm just not. Ain't nothing holding me back. I told you the other day, one of the ladies was like, you need to be with somebody. And I'm looking at her like, girl, bye. I want to be like, excuse me. I'm only focused on me and mine and the blessings that God got for me. I ain't gonna have nobody come along and mess what I got going on. Is you crazy? Is you crazy? Are you crazy? Girl, if you don't get out of here, you sitting up here being with somebody else's stuff. And I'm like, and then people wonder why they still keep going around. I'll be witnessing and looking at people, and I don't say nothing, and I say it in silent, and I be like, wonder why you deal with the things that you deal with now, hard headed and old. Hard-headed and you got to study the word of God too. You got to wonder why so many men have failed in the same old trap that's going on today, and that's adultery. And then the other one falls too, because when you look at Adam and Eve, Eve fell, and then she went over and was like, come on, Adam, eat some of this, and he knew not to do it, and he ate it anyway. So when your husband left and he's committing adultery with somebody else, it's adultery, but because he's with somebody else, you're going to commit adultery too. Two wrongs do not make it right. Both of you will be tried. I would say this: the brighter side of the singleness is that there's a lot of, sorry, on my phone. It seemed like my phone going dead. Let me make sure my phone is. So there was a lot of things. There's a lot of things that you don't have to do. There's a lot of things that you don't have to do. And I'm not sitting up here trying to discount it, because there would have been wonderful things if my husband was there. I feel like if my husband was there, we probably could have made I don't know. I you know how you just wouldn't really know, because I'm living in the now. But two people in the household, two incomes, man, we would have been gone. 2 months. But then a lot of the new ideas didn't come to me until I went through certain situations. A lot of my brand, it didn't come to me until I went through those certain situations. So sometimes God can make a bad thing that you went through, and he could turn it around for good. Look at what Joseph went through. His brothers sold him, and come to find out, he was basically the man who basically got it from God. He was able to translate the dream, to save Egypt and everything around them, because people were going to be going through a drought for 7 years. So, God will take what people did to you, and he will twist it and turn around. And yes, he will prepare a table before your enemies. Now, I don't speak to my husband at all. I don't speak to the man that I married. I haven't had any communication at all with him, because that's something that he doesn't want. He doesn't want to be bothered. And when people don't want to be bothered, you just stay away until they find their way, until they find that they want to muster up courage enough to speak up and say something. But I guarantee you, he's been looking at some of my videos. And I guarantee you, he's like, Dag, my wife ain't, she ain't, she seems, my wife is happy. I'm sure he looks and he's just like, Dag, she's doing good. And I'm sure there's a big part of him. If I know him, the man that I married, and how caring he was, I'm sure there's a big chunk of him that's just like, what did I do? What did I do? You can't hide from the truth for so long, but it is what it is. and or maybe he's gotten to the level where he's just basically like, well, she's doing good, so okay, but you will have a regret. Somebody who treated you good, someone who loved you, and even still faithful to the word of God. You have to say to yourself, that is somebody who loves me. That is somebody who God sent. Because a lot of you chicks out there, a lot of these chicks out here be like, please, my husband leave and dip out on me. I'm marrying somebody else. I don't care if I'm committing adultery. But the truth of the matter is, it's not because I'm not staying faithful because of my husband. I'm staying faithful because of God. And I love God more. So all I can say is just your husband leaves you and it's the worst thing that ever happened and you don't know what to do. You got to ask God to take the desire of your husband away from you and give you the spirit of joy, peace, and happiness. Joy. You said my first husband left me 20 years ago and has recently remarried, not knowing I remarried for 7 years and have 4 kids. He too left and remarried, separated in 2016 and divorced by 2017. God is my everything. Truth is not always easy raising 4 children. No, it's not. It's not. But remember, children are only children until they're adults. But no, it's not. My mother raised 4 on her own. Um, And I'm grateful for my mother. Oh, shout out to the grandmothers. I'm trying to tell you. Shout out to the grandmothers. I'm grateful for my mother because I'm not there while I'm working, but she's there. So I'm so grateful for that. So grateful for that. Um, and we do long, and some people and I just say it, sometimes when you be wanting and longing for something, that person ain't even thinking about you. That person you ain't even on their mind. You sitting up here going into convulsions and crying and carrying on, and my husband over there smoking a cigarette and playing a video game. He not even thinking about that. So I had to ask God to focus my mind and my energy on positive things and not think about him and let all that energy that I had, let it go back, let it go on his lap. If he caused it, let it go on him. I don't want to look at it. I don't want to think about it. You know what I mean? And I know it sounds whatever. Uh, You said it was a shock to learn that you would have to raise the kids on your own instead of right. So, you know what? I count it all as a blessing because imagine what you're going to have to put up with if you meet somebody random. Not only is that person going to come in messing up your daggone blessings, but then that means that you got to take that attention away from your children onto somebody else. I can't even imagine it. I don't know. I be looking at it, let me put my running shoes on. Oh no, I'm like, call it what y'all want. I'm done with that. Like the last time I was speaking to somebody, I said, well, I was speaking to this lady, and I told her the last time I remember dating anybody was back in 2010. That was 12 years ago. And it was my husband. He was my, at that time, we was dating. I don't even remember dates. Like, I'm just so on some other type stuff. I don't even care for it. I don't care for it. Like if it's, I get it. I can't be with nobody else because he's still alive. I get it. I get it. But I'm not losing out on nothing. I look at these relationship videos and they be like, when a man don't do this and when a woman don't do that and when a man don't do this and I'm getting my passport and the women. I mean, I listened to a lady say for 24 years she was married to this man and now she's single and she lives so much better by herself. She ain't got to cater nobody with an attitude. He never helped out with the kids. He didn't do this. He didn't do that. He didn't do this. He didn't do that. But now she's just like, I'm good by myself. I ain't got nobody in my ear. And it was bad. I mean, it's bad because I'm like, it's not supposed to be that way. Like the husbands out here, you're not listening to love your wives as Christ loved the church. And the wives out here ain't listening to submit to your husbands. Y'all got more drama than movies. I'm like, ah, I'm so happy I ain't gotta do the only if I'm trying to complete a goal and the goal is not being completed, I am the only person that I can blame because I don't have nobody in my life as a distraction. So sometimes you have to look at it as a blessing. And I say this to the woman who her husband just dipped out on her and gave her the deuces. What if you're not in contact with your husband? How would you know he's dead or not? Oh, I would know. Oh, you're saying what if you're not in contact? Trust me, and God will tell you too. He'll give you a dream. I'm not in contact with my husband, but I know he's still alive. Trust me. I'm sure my in-laws will be the first to call me to let me know he passed away. Because they know too that I'm not allowed to remarry as long as he's alive. They know that. How so, Mona? You think they don't? You really think that all these years they haven't turned on any video that I put out there? They know, and I'm sure they wouldn't be as cruel as to not to let me know. But trust me, to come back. But if you're saying you had no contact, you don't know, then you need to look online and see where there's any deaths been happen. And even if so, would you really want to get remarried again in this day and time? I mean, I get it. Would you? Because I'm gonna tell you, come around across the wrong one who'll be like, oh, so you believe in marriage, huh? And then you end up marrying somebody, some Giacomo, and then he's just like, I know if I do anything, you ain't going nowhere. Some people abuses that. But anyway, you gotta show you a dream if you had a spouse that died on you. He'll show you. Trust me, nothing is like it'll get back to you. That's just like this lady. She didn't know what in the world happened to her husband. She thought he got killed until 25 years later she saw him in the car. He faked his entire death and went and got another family. God showed her. The world ain't that big. I'm sorry your husband abandoned you. I'm so sorry that you're 25 and your husband abandoned you. I was 29 when I got married. I think I was 33 when my husband gave me the deuces. Yeah, my husband gave me the deuces at 33. All I can say is this is that you ask God to bring you peace, joy, and that you're young. You know, has your husband ever been married before? The one that abandoned you, have he ever been married before? If he has, first of all, find out whether or not you was in a legit marriage anyway. Because if you've been married before and you were his second wife, that makes you not really the real wife. But if you were the first wife, you continue on praying for your husband. But ask God to give you the desires of no, he haven't. Oh, okay, but yeah, that means you want flesh with him. Don't wish for him to get hit by a bus. Cause I wish that when my husband first left me, I was just like, he gonna get hit by a bus and that'll free me. Don't wish for the things like that. Pray and ask God to just, show your husband, just to deliver your husband. Because if your husband's out here sleeping with somebody else or marrying somebody else, he gonna burn in hell. So I um I say this is that ask God to give you the desire of your heart. At 25, if I would have known the things that I know right now, you become what you think about. Watch the people that you hang around with and just ask God to literally, venture you out and take you places you ain't never been. Ask Him to give you happiness. Because when I will honestly say when you're in a relationship, you worry about what the other person is thinking. You're so worried about catering to them, you lose yourself.
So ask God to take you places and show you things, and He'll and make you busy in it, and He will. And before you know it, you'll look up and be like, "You did leave, didn't you? Oh, I forgot. Oh, you know." But follow what Jesus said: remain unmarried or reconciled. You're not the first woman that has been left. You're not the first woman, not the newest under the sun. There's women that going on 20, 25 years, like what she said, 20 years, 25 years strong. And you think to myself, oh my gosh, I have to be like that. Well, look at the statistics. The statistics of the divorce rate is just, it's just, it's sad. And before you got married, everybody knows the statistics. You and your spouse would be like, "Oh yeah, I'm totally for it," until the fire hits, until temptation comes. But keep your covenant with your husband. Remember, you're one flesh. If anybody touch you or you date somebody else, you don't want to be in sin, and you're gonna need every blessing that you can get while you're walking down this road. You're gonna need God to be with you, and I'm gonna tell you, God will love you